back, Baja family, and thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Shifting Perspectives, the Baja Beach Wellness Diaries. We are back in our podcast studio. You guys can see the family is back. We have a special guest, but I want to introduce, we have Amy in here, and we have Angela here. We are very excited because if you guys did not listen to last week's episode, we had part 1 of our perimenopause and our menopause episode. This week is part 2, and we have a very special guest, very anticipated special guest that we're very excited to introduce. It is Becky McClure. So Becky, thank you so much for joining us. She is a wonderful soul. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Becky, I'm going to let you just briefly introduce yourself, what you do for menopause, perimenopause, women's health, the hormonal transfer, all the stuff. We're going to get into all of the things, but briefly introduce yourself. And once again, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you again for having me. Any way I can reach out to women to give them a better life for the rest of their life is an opportunity for me. My name is Becky McClure. As she said, I'm a certified registered nurse practitioner for over 30 years. I've been in medicine for 45 years. It's a long journey. I'll make it brief. More importantly, I want you to understand how I got to be where I am today. But a little background is I started as a registered nurse. I didn't go back to school to be a nurse practitioner until moving to Reading. It was part of my goal that they would cover for me to go to school to become a nurse practitioner because I wanted to be that independent provider. And that's where my journey began. Trust me, I don't know if I'd ever do it again. It was difficult. I had young children at home. I was away from them for almost a year, but it was a goal I had to suffice. So I did it, and it's brought me into a whole different world. Came to Reading, continued doing OB, taking care of moms during their pregnancy, but did so much C-sections, labor and delivery. I was in every part of the picture that I could be, and really kind of pushed my roles to be as far as I could take them. And that's where the nurse practitioner opened those doors for a greater aspect in that. Being to where I am today, and how I began this journey was when I was young. I was only 35 when I had a hysterectomy. This wasn't necessarily by choice, but you always have a choice. But because of the pain and discomfort I lived with for so many years, difficulty getting pregnant with my last pregnancy, and even in a new and wonderful relationship, difficult decisions I had to make that we weren't going to have a child together. So there's so much more to a person. And if I can make you understand anything, it's that. Know the person. We all have so many pieces. The more pieces you know, the better you can treat them. So I went through menopause at 41. Now, I was in the medical world. This is what I had done for a long time. I didn't know which way to go. I thought I was crazy. I became a person I didn't even recognize looking in the mirror. But do you know who confronted me first? Not myself, but my daughter, my teenage daughter. And imagine that, a teenage daughter going through her crap and me going through this. All those hormones running around the household. And she said, Mom, I don't know what's happening with you, but you need to get fixed.
There's something wrong with you.
And it's really where I began. But I began with what I had always taught about HRT, which I've always been a proponent of HRT.
And Becky, can you explain real quick, sorry to cut you, what is HRT?
And I apologize.
I know.
Don't let me use letters. HRT is hormone replacement therapy. And you will hear me say HRT is just shorter. But that's what it is. And I'll tell you how much that matters and when we need it and why. But to continue in my journey, after Dr. West, I will tell you, he was that big piece. He wanted me to step out of the box many years ago, 21 years ago, 23 years ago. I couldn't do it. I was taught protocols following what we did, what we told our patients. So for 2.5 years, hot flashes, and I'm not talking 2 hot flashes a day. I'm talking 15 hot flashes a day. Unbearable, night sweats. I'm not an anxious person. I'm really pretty chill. I was never so anxious in my entire life, and I never want to be that person again. No coping. What I used to be able to do without thinking, I had to think about every step, and I couldn't imagine how I could get it done. Brain fog, not sleeping, depression. Not that we were depressed, but depressed about how we felt. And one of the first things I want to do is give you an antidepressant. That is not the answer. That is not focusing on what the real problem is. After Dr. West left, I really felt alone, didn't feel supported. I love my colleagues. I respect them, and I hope they respect me enough to know I'm out there being cautious and taking care of my patients and being protective, but I'm also doing what I firmly believe in. And that's when I decided to make that move and to open my own practice, which is here in Wyomissing, literally right around the corner. And we've touched over 4,000 people in 8 years.
And what is the name of your practice?
Renewed vitality. And for all the right reasons, we do renew your vitality. A saying my daughter came up with, I think, is perfect. Aging is, hang on, I'm going to think that. Aging is expected. We're all going to age. Getting old is an option. We have a choice of things that we do for us to feel good and age well. And there are so many more benefits to HRT and hormones, even placing them. We all talk about the symptoms that you all talk about. I love listening to the reality of what I hear every day, you putting it out to the world. That's what needs to be done. To hear women literally talk about what it's like to have sex and how much it hurts. We only treat less than 20% of menopausal women, barely even scratch perimenopause. And that's the world that I want to change. Those numbers are horrible. And I would be ashamed if I was not changing those numbers and making them better. And that's why I'm here today. I'll talk to anybody about what I do, and I'll go as far as you want me to go. I'm just honest, and I tell you what I truly believe in. So I want to open that up to you. And I'm really, and you'll see me looking at my iPad because Amy gave me great content, which helps to keep me on track because I can go off on a tangent. So
we love it.
That's like the story of this podcast.
This is so good. This is what we love. We love the tangents.
We call them squirrels.
Yeah, squirrels.
Squirrels.
Yeah.
So the basis of all of this, I got here because I went through menopause and I felt helpless. I didn't feel like I was getting relief with any of the traditional medicine that was out there. Dr. West for 2 years had said, try pellet therapy. And I was like, no, skeptical. Don't think I don't get skepticism. I was skepticism. And 2.5 years more, I suffered. I would do anything to get those 2.5 years of my life back. Because I probably could tell you much of the important things that I should have been paying attention to in my life that I didn't because I couldn't. So I tell you, don't wait. What are we waiting for? I'm going to tell you how important it is to catch it in those first 10 years. Critical piece of this. And this is where I got on pellet therapy. Perimenopausal women react differently than menopausal women. I treat them very differently, as you're going to find. But in my case, I was truly menopausal. 8 days, I can tell you where I was standing in Florida at my mom's house in the heat. And all of a sudden I stopped and went, oh my God, I haven't had a hot flash in 24 hours. And I'm in hot Florida and I am calmer. But I'm thinking I'm on vacation. I'm with my mom. We're always trying to justify things around this. It had nothing to do with that. It's that the receptors in my body were saying, oh my God, thank you for giving me my hormones that I have had your whole life. And now we're completely gone. It saved my life and it brought me to where I am today. I'm as passionate today about what I do as I was 23 years ago when Bill introduced this to me. And I don't want people to suffer those 2.5 years. I don't want them to wait till they're 70 when I can't help them as much as when they're 55. That age is critical to start. And so that's where I am. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
And I'm going to let some of this go out to you to give me some guidance as to what you want to know, and I'll take it from there.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for that intro. We are so excited to get into it. I have so many questions, especially being such a young woman and still scared about this process, but we're all going to go through it, and I'm definitely excited.
It's so important we start taking those fears
Yes.
away.
Thank you. Thank you for this. With the pellet therapy, I just want to like open this up. The question with the hormonal replacement too, like, so with menopause, you're losing your hormones.
Correct.
This is that's happening.
Menopause is you no longer make those hormones. It is when you are finished. And let me say with absolute 100%, you are menopausal till the day you die.
Got it.
Simple definition, no period for a year. Real life, you have no hormones. The only way to make it better is to replace it with hormones. Bottom line.
And then pellets. Do you guys have pellets? Like, what's going on over here? Do you guys have hormone replacement theory? Like,
I have pellets.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But I'm getting ready to go see Becky.
What's the age for the hormonal replacement? Like, when do we start?
35 is when, by studies time, 35 is actually when we begin this decline.
Okay.
And for some people, it can begin as early as 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's called your perimenopausal time. Some women will do great. They won't have a single problem until they're 49.
Mm-hmm.
Other women, a significant amount of my practice, 40-year-olds, 41, 42. Something's wrong. I'm not right. I can't control myself. I have all these symptoms that I spoke of earlier. And they want to know, am I menopausal? Because it's the first thing you think about. Perimenopause lasts for 10 years, sometimes more.
Mm-hmm.
It's a roller coaster effect. And what the difference is, you guys in perimenopause, you're still making hormones. Your ovaries are still working. I'm not saying they're doing their job well, but they're still working. I have to work with that moving part. In menopause, I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the treatment is different. So just to say, I'm going to put it out there. Every woman in the world needs testosterone. I think we all know men have the drive that we don't have from the beginning of life. Women have that burst with lust, new relationships, new marriages. But when we get comfortable, so does the libido kind of go to the wayside because we don't have a lot to draw from because we don't have a lot of testosterone. So we have brought you into a different world in my world. And this has been around since 1938, pellets in the United States. It's not new. This has been going on mostly on California world, coming into the whole country. And boy, has it grown over the last 3 to 4 years. But we put you into optimal levels. We don't look at a lab test, and that's not the values we go by. Because if you look at menopause, it's going to tell you 0 is within normal range, up to maybe, 27. My range is I want you where you would be optimally at your ages or younger of 100 to 400. Big difference. They have less than 15. I want you to be 100 to 400. Now, do I need 400 at 64 years old? Of course not. I can use a lower dose now as I age, and my receptors and my pituitary, which is what controls all the hormones, they know, and they know to tell you when it's not enough, when you need more. That's where lab tests come in. Most people do not believe in lab tests. I believe in it, and my patients want it. They like to see that. I tell them you can't look at the numbers and then think about your symptoms. It makes you think differently. I like you not to look at your numbers until I say, how are you doing? How do you feel? Because listening to you is more important to me than my guardrails of numbers. So I'm aware of them. I know where they should be. But you feeling good where you need to be is the number one critical piece. And that's why it's so important to know somebody. If you're a marathon runner, you're going to use a pellet differently than someone who's been sitting on their couch for the last 2 years. It's plain and simple. You're going to burn it differently. And I'll explain how pellets work when we want to get to that part. But that does not mean I use all forms. of hormone replacement therapy. Creams, patches. My big thing that I would tell you that I give most to this county, and believe it or not, I have somebody who comes from Canada. I have somebody who comes from Nantucket, and we're talking every 3 months. Not that they haven't tried, and not to pat myself on the back, but they can't find someone like our practice that gives them that time, that nourishment, that education, the honesty that we tell them. And that's a positive sign for me. We're keeping patients. That population's not going anywhere. We're growing. And it is because we're not perfect, but we're going to be the best we can be for you. And that's our primary concern. Pellet therapy is really different. You're going to find I'm a little biased to it. Pellets have been in my body for 21 years.
That's why you look like that.
I would you need less Botox if you get your estrogen. I'm telling you. It builds collagen.
Yeah.
So to every point that you say, it helps every organ in your body. We only recognize the outside and the things that bother us. But the inside of your body is atrophying without that estrogen. And I don't care what anybody says, science says it's a fact. And you're going to age faster. And that's honestly my belief. I always say, line up 10 of my pellet patients against someone who doesn't use anything. We're going to look better.
That's it.
It's factual.
Yeah.
Because we have energy. We want off our couch. And if you look at what I call my circle of life, if you are sitting on a couch because your motivation's gone, your energy's gone, you're depressed, what are you going to do? You're going to sit on the couch, eat bonbons, and watch television. Well, all you're doing is bringing yourself into the world of diabetes, hypertension, cardiac disease, because we're not functioning and our body is slowly changing its course. When you have these pieces in our life that give us back those things, guess what? We want to get off the couch.
Yeah.
And we want to exercise and we want to fight for our dreams. Like I have fought for my dreams starting at 56 years old.
I love that.
And that's what it gives you. It gives you a sense. And that can happen for you in any format of any type of hormone replacement therapy. It's finding what works for you. Perimenopause. I will not put in an estrogen pellet when I meet you. And that's not going to happen. You have a moving part. I've got to figure that moving part out, which can take me several months. Different lab tests. And there is a way to tell perimenopause from menopause. I promise. But it's all about the testing, knowing where to test, knowing that what their cycles are. I brought this piece of paper for a simple fact. As a nurse practitioner, when I went to school, this was the thing that was on top of all of our books. I don't know how much you can see that. Just know that it's a picture of the female cycle. This is where somebody with a background of women helps you, because they said every problem we ever treat is going to be based on this. They're not wrong. Everything is based on this. It is the foundation of who and what we are and what we become. And I think if we truly thought about that, we wouldn't let women in menopause and perimenopause suffer. And we need to stop doing that. We need to take away the myths and the fears. I just do a podcast on myths alone, and I will. Because as I was talking about, I will be doing podcasts, and I've been working on it. It's something I need to be comfortable with, and really just taking episodes that all I do is talk about this, with patients talking about their journeys. What were their fears? Where did they start having this? How did they feel about seeking help? I started educating late 20s, early 30s about what's going to happen to you futuristically. We shouldn't have to wait till it happens and not know what to do or seek help. Listen, if you never want to use a hormone therapy, that is absolutely your choice. But in that sense, just remind them there are medical benefits. And so they're kind of giving out on that.
Yeah, and better quality of life.
Choice, right?
Yeah.
And that's the key word. Quality of life. Women want that word. Different generation. I'm not my mom. We are much more forthgoing as women. we are becoming a bigger part of the conversation. We're owning our own businesses. We're driving the car. And that really is where this generation coming in. I love you because you're more open. You're not sitting there thinking about the fears that WHI put into our heads 25 years ago. In my generation, that was so prominent. This generation, believe it or not, it's still there because somebody older is talking to you and that's filtering down. Listen, if you've had breast cancer, that doesn't mean you can't have a conversation because there are things we can do for you. Even if you never want to hear the word estrogen again, we can tell you about testosterone, vaginal cream so you don't have pain each and every time you have intercourse. The sandpaper comment. It's true. The vagina, which is fluffy and pink and lubricated naturally, becomes a piece of tissue paper. That's how thin it becomes. So every time you are active, it's like getting an abrasion. That's why it hurts so bad. So for everything that is happening to you, there is a reason why that's happening. And that's why it's important to listen. Where do you start with this person? Do they need these, what I call vaginal pearls? It's through a compounding pharmacy. Again, a whole different thing about why that we use compounding pharmacies, why I trust the people I use. 3 companies, which I've worked with forever. Trust, being in their business and watching what they do, knowing the people that own it. It's just like when you're seeking me out. Know me, research me, find me, talk to people. It's how you're going to get your best answers. And you would find a comfort. All doctors use a compound sometime in their practice. Ours are just being targeted because we're being so local about it. And they're not comfortable moving into that space. And that's okay. I'm comfortable being in that space. So I'll leave that there. But again, you can see how many podcasts that I can do.
Literally, I love that.
Compounding pharmacy.
Just like
all
so
by
much
itself.
knowledge. I love that. Tune into Becky's podcast, guys, coming soon.
Do you guys have questions for Becky? I think my question is, where do you start if, brand new patient? I have a feeling you're going to get a lot of brand new patients because we've had so many requests for this subject on the podcast. Where do you start with a new patient? They come to you, for instance, I have very regular periods still. Like, we're talking on the dot. Very rare that I have a regular period, but I have all of the symptoms, the anxiety, the waking up at 3 a.m., the racing thoughts, the panic attacks.
Isn't that confusing for you?
It's so confusing because and things are still fine in that department downtown,
No
so
sandpaper.
yeah, I'm not visiting Lowe's yet. So where would you start with there's my zinger for the day. Where do you start with anybody who comes in? Like, what kind of questions do you
Okay, the
ask
phone
them?
calls come in first.
Okay.
We have a simple history that asks you specific questions. Periods, normal and regular, your specific issues, your age. And it gives us a brief thing so that, say somebody is 78 years old. Okay, they're going to come to me and I'm going to say, I'm sorry, not in my comfort zone. And unfortunately, it's too long. And heart plaque is definitively an issue with a 78-year-old who's never taken a hormone. Someone's 22. Well, maybe they have polycystic ovarian syndrome. And maybe that's a real reason of why that I do look at their hormones. Sometimes telling them, I may tell you a few brief things, but would probably agree with your gynecologist that this is what I would do, which is probably very similar. But in certain cases, I may do something very differently. So when you call, we ask these questions. We tell you we need you to get lab work, and that's imperative for us. If you don't have your lab work, then we don't see you for that new patient because it gives us a piece. It tells us apart. So labs matter. As long as I have those, then basically it's sometimes right now, it's a couple of months till you get a new appointment, but we have just added another nurse practitioner because the quality of what I have built, if I have to hire more people, which is to no benefit for me financially, this isn't a financial thing to me. It's a passion thing for me. And I'll build that so you still get that attention that every person deserves and the time. A new patient for us takes us an hour and a half and needs probably longer. But we tell them all this. If I could sit here and pretend it is a new patient and you could see exactly what I did. And that's all the education. But that's all you have to do to get in the door to have that appointment. Figuring out where you are in perimenopause, how confused are you? You're normal and regular. Obviously, it can't be menopausal. What the hell is happening? Because the things you're not having, you still have enough hormones to keep things going the way they are. But eventually, in time, that's not going to help you. Right. Those problems will incur.
Right.
And this will continue to happen. And if you're 64 and now all of a sudden you have terrible urination issues, frequent UTIs, bladder issues, vaginal relaxation, pain, all these things is because there's no estrogen in that vagina or bladder, which have high receptors for that hormone and testosterone, haven't been there for so long. The body's going to fail you, but nobody's ever going to say, guess what? You've got hormonal issues. Right. And we don't want you to be too old before you ask that question.
Right.
The time to ask questions isn't very long. Right. Even if you don't want treatment. If all you do is come and see me and we have this conversation, you can walk away from me and not see me for 2 years. And I'm okay with that. The average person, somebody tells them, it'll take them a year to come see me. It's such a process in our emotional mind and our fears that makes us hesitate to seek help. I want people to understand, seek help early, understand what you're going through. And that's so individual. And then you can give them guidance. And you can say, I'm going to walk away today. I'm going to process this. I'm okay. Other women are like, how soon can you do this? And I tell them right now. Yeah. So because you're there, I'm going to make you feel good. In perimenopause, you don't usually have to ask me twice for testosterone. It's almost an automatic for me. Listening to if you had cystic acne when you were a kid, this matters with testosterone. There's a lot of things that can matter, but I'm going to ask you those questions. And if you pass that little test, I'll give you that testosterone in any format you want because it's amazing what it does for your life and your energy and motivation, self-esteem. It does a lot. The libido, that's the icing on the cake. There's so much more. Heart, brain, bones, organs inside your body we don't even pay attention to that we take for granted every day. Significant. Everybody knows, even traditional medicine knows, heart is significant. Protects the heart by 50% by using hormone replacement therapy. We know that. It's factual. This timeline, again, another stop at 65. I said, what am I going to do in a year? Wave the white flag? I mean, can you see that happening with me? Not going to happen. No. And I'm a believer that I'm going to use this until I don't have the mind not to. But my kids already know, even if I have dementia, still give me my pellets. I believe the future is going to find it will at least delay it, make it even, they're seeing improvement in some of our studies that they are making Alzheimer's patients better. It's not taking it away. I think we're a long way from that, but we're working hard to get there. If there's any impact, progesterone, which I do want to talk about because I do that so differently than everybody else for a very good reason. Number one, it's breast protective. That protects you from decreases your risk of breast cancer by 10 to 12%. As much as we're seeing today, I'll take that 10 to 12%. I take it. And I didn't get on that page for a long time. I needed to let it be used for a while. Listen to the process, see the studies. I don't jump on any bandwagon. I only do what I believe. Anything that I have in my office is because I believe in it myself, and I'm probably using it. So that's kind of, again, you see where all this takes. There's no easy answer. I just hired another new nurse practitioner. I'm like, protocols, we have that. But we live in a very gray world, which involves, I don't know, the patients. It's the biggest piece that we all forget. My first question when I have a student, after they go into a room with me is, what color were the patient's eyes? They look at me like I'm crazy, first of all, because we live in this technical world, but we forget to see the patient. We forget to hear the patient. We're listening, but you got to hear them. And I do hear you. And I heard all of you last week, which made me more comfortable. You're living in that space, many of you, and you're seeking help and education. Education is huge, and I'm such a proponent of it. That's why I'm here today. But it definitely isn't a simple subject. It's not. And that's why when I know you, then I make my plan, because every part of you makes a difference. You're sensitive to medication. Just changed my thought of how I'm going to treat you. Because your mom had breast cancer. What I need to educate you about. Every piece of you, your fears, I need to take them, process them, and make you feel better and help you with your choices. There are some people that I work closely with a physician whose name I won't name, but who really helps me in the decision with women with breast cancer. And it's more forward than anybody realizes, but it's also a very scary place, not only for them to be, but for me to be. But do I want them to have no quality of life? No. So there are things we can use. There are things they can do just with their lifestyle and how they live their life differently. That's hard if you don't have any hormones, but you've got to find what you need to do to make your life have joy in it again. Because without joy, are we living? It's a question. Most women will tell you, no, quality of life matters. So it's simple to get started, and it's simple once you're in my arms. I can embrace you, and I can take those pieces apart. In general,
Becky's just such a sweet, gentle lady.
And that's what's so great, because like you said, we live in such a digital world.
We do.
That a lot of times in healthcare, you're just seen as a number, and it doesn't make you feel like you're being taken care of.
Most of my patients will say they don't feel heard, they feel rushed, they're getting the prescription and say, see you in a year. It's just not, honestly, that's not what women need. They need you to help them through the process. Bleeding, well, that could be 2 podcasts, okay? Because that's an issue that comes up where there are a lot of decisions to make, but better educated women know that this can happen. We tell them where it can go to, what we do to make that better. And so it makes them understand, okay, this person has control of this. Because one of the things that if they go to somebody who's not quite a believer in HRT long term, will say, well, you know, your hormones are doing this. Well, good news, I already told them that. I know what I'm responsible for doing. I know that I'm placing them at that risk. But I've educated them on what it's about. It's not your periods coming back. It's abnormal bleeding. We need to figure out why. And so we go from that point. Nothing's terribly scary. I will tell you, in all my years, I have had 2 patients that have had uterine cancer. One, I found them with her first ultrasound that she literally had just started her HRT. And the other came to me from another practice. She actually had a complete bilateral mastectomy, and they found it in the scar tissue. That's a breast cancer. Now, who would ever think of looking at scar tissue on the breast to see that you have a breast cancer? So there are crazy things that come up, but those are so rare that we have to deal with bleeding. That's not rare. That's every day for us. That's problem solving, like with anything else. And our patients are good, again, educated. They know the questions to ask. I'm telling them where to go. Every step of the way, we're giving them good guidance. It may not always be talking to me, but I will tell you something I do have. It is the most amazing staff. I don't know what I've done in this life. Be blessed with who I have that takes care of me and makes me what I want to be. There won't be a single person that you don't know their heart is in the game. And most of that is
It's from the top down, Becky. We can feel it. We can feel the energy.
And that energy is through my entire practice. And we get comments all the time. I have never felt so genuinely welcome. I mean, walking in my beautiful opposite self, it projects who I am. It's comfortable. It's not medicinal. I don't want you to feel those stresses. Of course, I follow those things. I follow the laws. I follow what's safe for you. But I want you to know this is your life and your quality of life. And we're here to help you. And that, at the end of the day, it's what I'm here to do. And do it safely.
Ange, what question do you have over there?
Gosh,
Menopause Ange.
I know, right? My mind is blown. Wow. I just listening to you. Wow. I think I need to make a phone call. Just because I currently am on a small dose of estrogen in a tablet form. And I spoke about it in the previous podcast where I was on testosterone cream and it just was way too much.
And I listened to that.
Yeah, I felt the effects. I mean,
It brought out your Taurus.
It did.
It brought out your Taurus energy.
my horn dog energy too. Like
no
everything.
mustache.
Yes,
But
it's just.
Tell me, was that with the cream?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was with the cream.
That's actually pretty amazing that works so well with you. But it just goes to show how different some people can be.
Exactly.
Other women are like, do you have more of that stuff? Because I got nothing. So that just shows you how different. But I loved your story of how I whoop up here and you're like, listen, and it's happened to me with an older lady. She told me I was looking out the door and thinking about going and getting a mailman. She was a single widow. And I said, okay, maybe we need to back this all down a little bit. The mailman's probably out of your red meat. So I have many funny stories. Continue.
Yes. No, I relate to her very well. Just looking at things and objects. Yes, it was a lot of a good thing. But anyways, it's just, my question, I think, to you and with Renewed Vitality is how accessible are you? Because not you personally, but your staff for questions. Because when that happened, I called and took about a week, but called my OBG, and I heard back, I think maybe 4 days later. And then it was, okay, well, just try it, every other day. And that was it. And then, you
kind of felt like you were left hanging.
Right. Or you're typing in through the online portal for questions and you're not able to speak to anybody. Right. So I'll be honest with you now, I'm scrambling because, I have 2 weeks of estrogen left and I can't get an appointment with my gynecologist with anybody for the next 3 months. And my annual is due in October.
Right. So there's that fine line. Without that.
Right.
And exactly where you are.
Just hearing what you were saying in the beginning of the podcast regarding the joy of life, like the motivation, the energy. I don't think I'm straight. Like, I don't think I'm on the right path. Because
and only you know that best, honestly. Now, I'm not going to tell you that hormones cure your entire life. They don't. They're your ovaries, and that's really how you look at hormones. If somebody says, oh, your blood pressure's up because of your hormones, and I tell my patients, ask them, so if I wasn't on hormones and I had ovaries, would you tell me to take out my ovaries? Well, that would be ridiculous. Of course, they wouldn't. So you always have to think about what they are and what they do for you. But we're tired, we're women, we're crazy, we do 8 million things. We're going to give you that energy, but we're not going to take it that you're not still going to be tired at the end of the day. But we will find that joy in life for you because you deserve that.
Right.
It's not always easy. Some people are harder than others, but you deserve that. In regard to your phone calls, we're old school in a lot of things I do. And we have a triage department of registered nurses that your phone call will be answered by them, typically within that day. Very odd that it would be maybe the next day. They're amazing. There's 3 of them. So that usually is handled. If they have a question, your annual is due. Now this is getting past your annual. What do I do? Can I get her medication? Yes, I'm going to solve that problem for you. I'm sorry we can't see you for that period of time. Then I'm going to make sure you get through until that time. I don't want you to go 3 months and not have what's been making you hopefully feel better and have that treatment associated with you. So no, we won't leave you hanging. And if that ever happens, you persistently call and you find me, and it won't happen. But I trust my staff pretty immensely that they don't let that happen. So we're still kind of old school. We're now going finally through the computers that we're going to do our prescriptions. Yeah, yes, we're moving forward. I love it.
Hey.
I still write charts. I do charts. My daughter, who's now coming in generational as you young ladies, saying, Mom, you have to eventually kind of get on board the computer thing. I like my privacy with my patients. It's a big thing for me. I have a personal issue when anybody can see my life. I don't like it. And I love my documentation. I have sticky notes. I have associated notes. I know you because you do my tanning twice a year, right? And names, oh, horrible. I never know your name. If you quiz me tomorrow, I wouldn't guess most of your names. Facial recognition is massive for me. I now am seeing ladies I took care of in their pregnancy and treating them for menopause. And they're coming to me because they trusted me in one of the most important times in their life. So when they came to this point, they knew a person that they could talk to and where I'm differently treating people and where I am in the stage I'm treating in life. So yes, I think that we have something very unique in our practice. As you saw, I get teary when I think about them. And I literally told God, you've given me two amazing nurse practitioners, loyal to a fault, great girls, trained by me, who I was trained by Bill West, Dr. Tara, and all that wonderful knowledge is going to good people. So my legacy continues on long after I've gone. Or at least, as my attorney tells me, don't think about death, think about freedom, that you can travel more. And my husband and I, we are doing more traveling right now. We're healthy. We never know when life's going to change at our age. So we're appreciating that fact. I had horrible, and I will say this, if you are over 50 and you have not had your shingles vaccine, I don't care if you believe in vaccines or not, so imperatively, please think of the shingles vaccine. I told all my patients to do it. I didn't do it myself. 2 shots, when do I have the time, out of my head. I had shingles. I, to this day, since October 27th, still have shingles symptoms that now is tolerable. When I'm busy, I can ignore them through my scalp, into my forehead, and into my left eye. I cried for 8 weeks. And I mean, cried. Anesthesia, different types of treatment, no narcotics. I have lacerated my liver and lived. It was worse than that. So that pain was so immense that I would beg and most of my patients, I guarantee you, 30% of my patients have now been vaccinated. That's a pretty good number, but they've listened to my story. It is not worth understanding how bad shingles pain is, whether you got vaccinated for chickenpox or you've had chickenpox. It doesn't matter. You have the risk of getting them, and if you got them once, you can get them again. The vaccine protects you 85% that you won't get it, and if you do get them, it'll be lesser version of them. You can be guaranteed. My primary, whom I love, told me wait a year to get my vaccines. The eye doctor who treated me watching my eye to make sure I didn't go blind in my left eye, who saw me so much, told me, you get off this chair and you go get a new vaccine. I never want to see this happen to you ever again. So please know that. So we are very imperative, and I don't even know where I came into that, but it's so imperative to me that that's an important thing that women and men know. So, and I don't know where I was going with that.
You and your husband were traveling. You're going to go traveling.
Right, right. So the thing I learned from shingles, which is where this came from, is I was out of my practice for 8 weeks. I didn't leave my house except to go into an OR and pray for anesthesia because I could be paid for it. Sad, but true. And so I wasn't involved in that business for 8 weeks. And you know what? It ran like a well-oiled machine. I was not threatened by that. I was grateful for that. And it has allowed me to say, I can have some freedom. I have taught them. I have taught them the great things that I have had great mentors who have taught me. And I'm forging that forward. And so I was interviewing for a third nurse practitioner, and I just told God, listen, it doesn't need to be perfection. You really give me great things. I'm not going to ask for too much. And he gave me another piece of perfection.
That's amazing.
She's amazing. It's awesome. So, you're blessed in so many ways, no matter who you or what you believe in or what you talk to. But we need to be grateful. And when you have quality of life and joy in your life, guess what? Be more grateful. You're more grateful. You don't whine as much. I do find that. When I talk to what I believe in, the first thing I do is talk about how grateful I am because it makes you not think of the whiny things that my bag might tell you. But did you die?
Yeah.
No,
but did you die?
It sounds like a terrible saying, but it's a funny saying with background from we won't go there.
But do you want to go there?
Listen, life is fantastic, but it is hard work.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
At
it's
all.
Not. So let's give ourselves the tools to make it easier and to let us live through God only knows what card gets flipped at us today. Because we don't know, face it. I mean, we like think older people die. Well, guess what? I'm sad to say you could die tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody has a number or a time that's set. Like they were talking about the rapture was going to happen yesterday. So, do we really think that we know when or if that ever happens?
Right.
No. So that's really our life too. So all we can do is live our best life. And I think hormones are a very big part of that.
Absolutely. I love that. Go ahead.
What are the most common maybe and some not so common things that women should look out for when they're kind of going towards the perimenopause age? Like I feel like we should talk more about, what are the most common symptoms women have, and then like what are some maybe like random things. Like I had the vertigo. I had the vertigo, and like who knew that had to do with your hormones?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's uncommon.
Right.
But very possible.
Yeah.
And I've seen it.
Yeah.
And you're right. That things go frozen shoulder, huge, starting in perimenopause. And guess what? It has a lot to do with hormones.
It's frozen shoulder.
Yeah. Frozen shoulder is that you literally can't move that shoulder. Joint pain becomes massive, but that shoulder literally can get frozen. We've proven that it's hormone driven. So there are odd things that happen. In perimenopause, your estrogen just needs to be better quality. You're not empty. That ovary is working. But some days the ovary's like, you know what?
Not today.
I don't really feel like doing this, so I'm just not gonna. And like now it's like 2 months you haven't had a period. So guess what starts to happen? More symptoms come out because the estrogen level is dropping. But you're not old enough that your other hormones can't help you out, that you may not get the hot flashes or the night sweats, but have other odd things. A little bit more anxiety, maybe some heart palpitations, feeling foggy, not being able to not be irritable. And perimenopausal women sometimes is simply a little bit of the estrogen can go a long way, but having their testosterone be a little bit better and progesterone can be a key piece in perimenopause. So my estrogen comes more into play. A, when I know you better. B, you're going to need a much more when you become menopausal. Here's the good news. If you're treated in perimenopause and let's just say you're starting, you're never going to live the misery 2.5 years that I lived. Because you're not going to go through painfully. It's even hard to distinguish actually when you truly do, if you're truly balanced. Because you're not going to have the symptoms. Or sometimes you break through and we know it's beginning to happen because we need to give you more. So these are all the things that you have to think about. Perimenopause, trust me, nobody ever used to touch it. It is what it is. We can't do anything about it, but we can. And it may not be perfect. Again, I always tell people, give things a 9-month trial. You've got to have patience. We're not going to figure it out in the first 3 months. And we may change. And good news, you can change it anytime you want. We don't judge you. We don't expect you. I don't expect you to go on pellets. I don't judge you if that isn't your choice. And if you try it and you don't like it, we either try to fix the problem or you change to a different thing. So that's where we're so open. Like we need to hear what's happening with you in order that we can continue to help you. Don't just call and say, quit. Like I don't like that. I will actually call that patient and say, I'm okay with your decision. It helps me to understand why you made that decision. And it helps me for the future for other people. So I just ask the question, like I just want the honesty. So it's not always a perfect machine. It takes time and working together as a team. And that's what my nurse practitioners and myself and you become is a team that forges forward in your everyday workspace. Does everything go perfect? What helps you? Having the conversation together and facing it. And that's what we should all have in this stage of the game, especially now because finally we're talking about it, but we're all still so afraid of it. And we need to cross those barriers. And men, we can't forget about men.
What about
we
men?
love men.
We love men.
We love
them.
And I think it's important, like I said in the last episode, men are starting to talk about perimenopause and menopause because, they love their partner and all of a sudden their partner's not their partner anymore. And it's like, what's going on?
Let me tell you what happens as we begin to have obligatory sex. It's what I call it. And we're doing it because we love that person. And that's on both sides of the story. Men have their issues. I had no idea until I delved into this. And guess who was my guinea pig for my first testosterone pellets? Your husband.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we love that.
And man, does he not like medicine?
No.
Scared to death. I said, come on, suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Let's do this together.
And my husband has diabetes, hypertension, and trust me, and he knows I talk about it all the time. So, but it's an emotional head game. It really is. Because you know what you want. Female doesn't have a drive, but maybe you have the drive and now he doesn't have the equipment. That makes me sad for them. For us, our equipment is always accessible. Their equipment, if it's not functioning, that's sad for them. That is their ego. That is what defines them. Just like our boobs and hair define us as women. And so you have to have that respect and you have to have the conversation about sex. I don't care how long you've been married, who you're with. We can have sex so much easier than we can talk about sex. It actually makes us feel threatened. Does he look at something because it's better? Does he not want this anymore? These are all normal head games that we play with ourselves. Men, when they have problems, guess what? They get into the emotional aspect of sex. We've been living that our whole lives, right?
Yeah.
This is the first time this becomes an emotion for them, which sadly makes the problems worse. So they don't have the drive either. So I do a lot of couples. And why I started to do this, my women were like, well, you fixed me, not going to fix it. I heard it so much, I told my husband, be my guinea pig.
Oh, wow.
My husband today, in the medical benefit side of all of this, which I firmly believe in, he is a different man. Cardiologist will tell you. He's a healthier man. He has lost probably half his body weight.
Wow.
He's in a very healthy weight. He takes Mounjaro, but he's a true diabetic. He's heavy diabetic. He truly has that genetic piece. But he does that now. He doesn't continue to lose weight because it's treating a disease for him. But I don't have anything against Ozempic and treating that correctly. Another podcast.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing it the right way for the right reasons. But isn't it great if we don't have such an obese world, which causes so much disease? Prevention is the name of the game. If we prevent, might put some people that they don't have as much business, but would we rather be the business of prevention versus waiting till something happens and then changing our lifestyle?
Yeah.
We have to change our lifestyle sooner than later. better.
Yeah. Proactive rather than reactive is what I always say. Yeah.
Very good way of putting it.
Yeah.
And my husband has been on testosterone pellets for 6 years now.
Wow.
And he recently has had an issue, PSA, which is a whole different subject, but his urologist, who was not really a fan initially, but has since done his own studies and doesn't feel that that has any impact on what's going on with him. Again, another part of the business that needs to grow. People need to step into something new, look at the studies. There are studies. I just printed studies yesterday just to show you I have a pile this high. There are a lot of studies now, and I can put them out there to you if you want scientific data. If I don't have it, I'll find it. If I don't know an answer to a question, I'll be honest and tell you, outside of my wheelhouse, I'll do the research. I'll get back to you. So men is evolving just as well. Our male population is growing like crazy. And they do talk. They all talk around the morning coffee, right? There are certain job places where we are the name, and many have followed. And they have their own little chat line that they use.
Okay.
And this is part of their discussions. So this is being talked about. Men are being more open. And I'm amazed the bravery of men who know they're coming to an all-female staff, and they're brave enough to come and be honest with us and open what is very private to someone that they have to feel comfortable with. And how do I do that? I do it with humor. You know, I mean, make it humorous, make it realize that everybody in the world has these issues, and we go from there, and we have very positive, good effects. And again, they can be treated in many different ways, not just pellets, injections, creams. So there's all kinds of different treatments, and I like them all. I'll give you my recommendation, but the end choice is your choice. Know that.
Yeah. And couples HRT. I mean, that's the
HRT.
selling point right there.
Wow, absolutely.
You can deal with your partner. Like that's awesome.
And we need that. We need that sexual relationship. Yeah. That's a connection that nobody else in the world has.
It doesn't always have to be just
separate.
Yeah.
We don't want to be roommates.
Yeah.
And sadly, that's what we become. We don't want to be in separate bedrooms.
Yeah.
I know sometimes it's
the normalization to have it all come together.
Yes.
Look at Becky changing the world.
Well, a little bit.
I want to be in separate bedrooms.
Therapy.
My man snores.
It's true. And so, but I want to direct you.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something about that.
Wait, does hormonal therapy change snoring?
No, but I'm going to tell you something that my sister did who had severe snoring and issues, and a new therapy. And you'd be amazed how it changed snoring. So I'll talk to you about that after. But
Part 2.
Listen, look at
Part 3.
Did you ever think that we would do surgery with robots?
Yeah, and I know it's crazy. Everything's a robot.
And did I think that was crazy when it began? Yeah, I want your hands doing it. That's how I did surgery as an assistant. But you know what? Look at it today. Look at the revolution, the recovery time, how they get better faster. It's amazing what robotic surgery does and how many formats we're using it. The Apple guy who came up with Apple, did we all think he was a little crazy? All great things start with thinking someone's crazy.
Yep,
absolutely.
And it can become to be the change.
Microsoft, Amazon, all of it.
And are we perfect?
And it all starts in a room like this.
Right. And will it get better? I hope it does. And I hope we keep evolving. And that we keep learning more, feeling more comfortable, finding new ways. I want a progesterone pellet that works. I don't know why it's so hard that they can't do it. We tried it once. Terrible results. Didn't absorb the same way. People had a hard lump. Women almost never reject a pellet. We had multiple rejections. So I said to the company, I praise you for taking this step, but I can't use your product because it doesn't work. There's no lab level to prove that it does. It should be, and it doesn't. So for those reasons, I had to walk away from something that I know would improve the bleeding process. But now we found a different way to get better at that picture, decreasing that breakthrough bleeding, and not having so many women have to go further with that. So again, it's all evolving. We get smarter. Other people are learning, teaching us We're watching people, watching the studies. So medicine is the beauty of it is it changes and it usually becomes better. And that's all I ask for is that what I do and what I'm choosing to do is safe for myself. And everything I do for you, it's in my body. Mm-hmm. And so that's my belief in it to a patient. I wouldn't be here if after 21 years I didn't feel as good as I am. Do I have certain issues? Of course I do. I had high blood pressure until shingles made me lose 20 pounds because I didn't eat for 8 weeks. Mm. But honestly, guess what? I don't have to take my high blood pressure pills anymore. So your life is always changing, different parts are being thrown at you different times. We're going to be there for you through those times and get you through this time and give you your best life, which we all deserve.
We all deserve that. That's honestly the foundation of the podcast too, shifting perspectives.
Yes.
You came from the corporate world and now look at you running the business.
Yes.
We love that.
And I love that part.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to get it out there, that women we do not have to die on the hill of doing everything ourselves and not seeking help for stuff.
Right.
It's important for women to know that everybody goes through this and there are options out there and you can live your best life. You don't have to be miserable, right?
And if you don't get the answers that you want, it's okay to get a second opinion. Mm-hmm. Everybody deserves a second opinion. We should never feel our ego is busted because somebody wants a second opinion. It's really okay. As a matter of fact, go ahead, find out that I'm doing the right thing. I could be doing something better. Mm. I want to hear what that second opinion says. So, and always know that I have colleagues that I've trusted, have been my mentors, that I talk to all the time. And I was talking to somebody today. I really have a definition of being a nurse practitioner and my physicians. I have great respect for all the people that I have worked with. I don't step on toes, and I certainly try not to. I just give my side of the story and allow women to make their choice. So a lot of these gynecologists have been friends, mentors, great people in my life that have been there for a lot of my patients. And I'm still involved with great people. I have great doctors who are there for me. They're my colleagues. Mm-hmm. And I have an absolute respect for knowing what they have that I don't. And that's the definition of somebody who's willing to say, it's okay if I don't know everything. I specialize in this. I may not always have the answers, but if ever I'm in doubt and my gut says something else, I'm talking to a colleague. And I feel okay about saying that because we can all learn. Every day is a learning experience. So I do truly trust everybody in this area. I do. We may have different opinions sometimes. That's all.
That's good. I love that. Do you guys have any final thoughts over there?
My mind's just blown.
I love that.
It's so blown.
I love that.
Now I want you to process, and I want you to really think it through. And any way we can help you, we are happy to do that for you. Or ask the questions where you are presently.
Becky, and then to the listeners too, where can people reach out to you? Where can people find you?
Okay, so the website is a little bit long, but just remember, Renewed Vitality, the number 4, YOU.com. You can simply go to our website. If you look up hormones in births, we're typically going to be first or second that you're going to see us. There is a Renewed Vitality from Texas. I think after many years, it's finally gone away, but if it pops up, that's not us. We're not in Texas. So we're on Van Reed Road, right up from Willoughby's. You can call us at 484-516-2937. I'll say it again in case you're running for a pen, because I know I would be. 484-516-2937. And start your journey, get educated, read our website. Gives a lot of information. We have an every 2-week newsletter now. I talk to you about the myths. Each time I give you a couple different myths about menopause and perimenopause and what the real facts are. So there's a lot of information. You see our staff growing. We introduce you to our new people, our old people that really we haven't got to show give our thanks for what they do. So it's great. We just recently changed our marketing person who has done amazing things, helping me do a podcast, making me do videos. So intimidating to me still. But I thank you for providing me in a comfortable surrounding, and allowing me to reach out to as many people as I can. Again, you may want nothing but be educated, and that's where we really begin. And that's the first piece: asking for help, getting answers.
Absolutely. Becky, thank you so much for joining us today. This was one of the best episodes I think we've done. We just keep getting better, keep leveling up. But Becky, thank you again. We hope to maybe have you on again. And good luck to all of your future endeavors.
Thank you.
All the listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in on YouTube and Spotify. Stay tuned. We have yet again another episode next Monday. Thank you guys again for listening to Shifting Perspectives, the Baja Beach Wellness Podcast. Have a good day. Yay!